All right, hey Slices, welcome back to some more Rogue Trader. I'm actually really excited to be jumping into this, and I know today is usually Shoot His Blood and Teefs, but I had to reinstall my game, and I just don't want to deal with that right now, so I'm just going to upload another Rogue Trader part in its place this week, and then we'll continue that one on. Maybe I'll upload it on Friday with Darktide. But I'm really excited to be playing more of this after this weekend. I had a great time, so we're just jumping right back into it. Let's see here. What does this say? Foxmaster Vigdis, Lord Captain, there is some commotion on the officer's deck. The Lady Navigator has left her quarters and is currently in the wardroom, where uninitiated crew members are shunning her in terror. Perhaps you should find out what has brought Cassia to the deck. Okay. Let's do that. Last part, we rescued Cassia from Eric V, where we killed the dude who, like, went all ham on his crewmates and stuff. Oh, what we got here? Welcome if you're new here, by the way.
Lord Captain.
Oh gosh.
My apologies. I did not notice your entrance.
Hi, Cassia. As I was saying, if you're new here, my playthrough is going to be a lot of me reading. It's going to be really long, and I'm not going to be the best at everything. I'm going to miss stuff, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I think that's okay. That's the fun of these games, but the story is all I really care about. So I'm excited to make choices. So if you're into that, please subscribe. And yeah. Welcome. Okay, the Lady Navigator is engrossed in perusing the dusty tomes, which appear to have been neglected by the other officers. Be it because of sloth or dullness of mind, when you walk closer, Cassia looks up at you, starts, and hides a weathered book behind her back. And then she said what she said. Pleases me to see you adjusting to life aboard. Alas, a title alone is not enough to hold everyone's attention all the time. Point at the book in Cassia's hands. I see you are fond of reading.
Oh, this. I found this fascinating read on one of the shelves, and I must say, it has caught my eye. Its every chapter is written in verse. I find it so beautiful and enrapturing.
Nice.
Yurak 5 had a vast archive of its own, of course.
I kept saying V instead of 5.
Most of the works within had to do with scholarly disciplines of some sort or another. Only in my sparse moments of respite was I allowed to escape into the pages of more embellished works.
Cassia gently brushes the dust off the cover of her thin clawed hand, her eyes filled with the longing after reminiscing about her lost home. The events that took place on Arak 5 must have shaken you greatly. Are you well? The only attendant is your valet from Uruk V again. Uruk 5. Do my servants not measure up to your standards? I hope that you have had ample time to calm yourself and your powers. I'm going to say this one.
One should not underestimate the navigators of House Orselio, Lord Captain. Like a shawl of pale smoke, a faint malaise hangs upon my shoulders, but it will not be the slightest hindrance to my duty to humanity, and my duty to you.
Cassia's response is reserved and pointedly decorous, clearly intended to create a distance between you. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we'll just go down the options here.
It is not that at all, Lord Captain. It is just that Uwe is quite capable of carrying out his duties by himself. He is well accustomed to my whims and preferences.
Okay. And he's the dude that got his tongue ripped out or something in there. Perception test succeeded. Cassia cringes ever so slightly, adjusts the adornment on her forehead, and awkwardly hides her clawed fingers in the folds of her clothes. The unnatural appearance of navigators often becomes a topic of gossip among lowly servants and officers alike. It is unsurprising, then, that Cassia prefers the company of one who is used to how she looks. That's fair. I hope you have had ample time to calm yourself and your powers.
There are people on this ship who are far more impulsive and dangerous to others, and far less devoted to the God Emperor than a herald of the Navis Nobility.
Nobility, okay.
But I did not need your words to see the shades of umber unease that whirl around your subjects whenever I am near. Were I not acquainted with such a reaction, I could have found their behavior and your question just now insulting.
Oh, my bad.
Lord Captain, would you kindly explain to me why you are pestering me with these questions? Inquiring about my mood and my needs, showing an interest in the books I am enjoying? You are behaving as if you possessed a shred of fellow feeling for one such as I.
Jeepers. I'm just a nice guy.
I beg your pardon, Lord Captain. That was no way for a navigator to conduct herself.
You have nothing to apologize for. Human emotions are natural, be they good or bad, and it is just as natural to share them with others. Quite right, so I would ask that you mind what you say from now on. It is indeed difficult for me to feel empathy for a mutant, however, the crew's well-being hinges on that of its navigator. I believe this conversation has reached its natural conclusion. Nah, I'm gonna say she doesn't have to apologize. I'm a nice fella.
Please forgive me. I cannot even understand myself right now. Your words and attention have reminded me of life on the station, of Theobald and Felek. I do not understand. They were merely the keepers of Urak 5. So why do memories of those two make me feel a strange heaviness here?
In my heart.
At the same time, I find myself overwhelmed with new excitement and anticipation. At last, I have set foot outside my familiar walls and into a world that I have only seen before in the pages of books. Your ship alone is a treasure trove of remarkable artifacts and curiosities.
It's all mine.
And just
Yeah, I found it all.
things that await beyond, but my delight must seem childish to you, surely. In your heart, you must be finding all this quite amusing.
Nah, I'm a nice feller. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. So many options. I would not dare to make fun of a lady's feelings, especially not one who has captivated me since I first set eyes on her. I would rather we find amusement elsewhere, perhaps in the privacy of my chambers. What I find childish is your manner of addressing me as if I were your friend, and your mistaken belief that anyone here would be interested in hearing about your emotional turmoil. I understand what you're going through. My own life has turned upside down not too long ago. I'm not in the habit of finding amusement at the expense of my people. Just remember to keep your emotions in check. I'm afraid I must return. This is getting a little too heavy for me. I understand what you're going through. Yeah.
Indeed. I did not know. That is to say, I could not have known, as it is the first time we are speaking in a circumstance so private. My word, when I found this place, it was so full of officers. Why did they all leave?
I do not tolerate idlers on this ship, and my officers know it well.
Then, I must take my leave as well. I am due to inspect the Sanctum Navis after the communion ritual and prepare the chamber for the upcoming warp jump. Thank you for your company.
You're welcome. I didn't do a whole lot. Just stood here with my weird helmet. Alright. Hey, a level up, huh? Alright, what we got here? Endure. What is Endure? That's the all incoming damage is reduced by 2, yeah. Does that say you have? Oh, I already have that one. It's right there. Reckless Strike? What is this one? The warrior's next melee attack gains plus 20% armor to pen and 8 damage, ignores 12% of the target's parry. Every enemy who survives an attack enhanced by this ability will attack the warrior in return, including creatures with ranged weapons. The warrior marks the target gaining plus 20% armor and plus 6 damage on melee attacks against the target. Sworn enemy. Breakthrough, the warrior gains the slash ability with 1 charge for this round. Slash cannot be used in the same round as charge. Oh, that sounds kind of interesting, actually. Forceful Strike, the warrior gathers all their might for a crushing strike. Their next melee attack pushes the enemy away. The distance of the push is equal to 3 cells. And I'm assuming this, yeah, it's like a taunt. Okay. I kind of want to try Forceful Strike. That sounds sick. Oh, Medicae. Athletics. This is affected by the toughness characteristic. It represents the ability to resist negative effects. Coercion. It represents the talent to manipulate other people. Demolition is used to deactivate traps. I think I'm gonna do athletics for this one. Cool. Then Cassia. I'll do willpower. Oh, I don't know what to do this for. I'm gonna do mastery of time. Okay, let's see if I don't see a lidless stare here either. Okay. Blood of Martyrs. Oh, that sounds pretty helpful, actually. I'm gonna do willpower again. Abelard, what we got here? Oh, I can... Okay, so same stuff. I think I'm gonna do the breakthrough. I'm gonna do carouse for him. Kind of like cover bases here. Ballistic skill. Controlled shot. The soldier gives a sign that they are about to open fire. The soldier and their allies will automatically dodge the soldier's next attack. Dashes in the selected direction. That sounds kind of good. Concentrated fire. The next range attack made by the soldier deals 100% damage. Has a 20% dodge reduction. Okay. Rapid fire sounds cool too. I think I'm gonna do concentrated fire. What do we got here? Flesh target. Bow's weakness. Combat insight. Ballistics calculation. Part of their attack deals plus 15% damage here. Okay. Well, that sounds cool. Let's do intelligence. Okay. Hopefully I am building these in somewhat of an okay way. Part of me feels like I'm probably not. Okay. I'm excited to be playing this. I love just being engrossed in like a nice story. Really excited about it. Okay. What do we want to do here? What do we have to do here? Let's... I would like to see my quest. Journal. Okay. Looking for trouble. Prison system. Gentiles road trader. Talk to her on the ship as soon as the opportunity arises. Better not to put it off for too long. New blood. Yeah. Okay, so let's go talk to... Yeah, let's go talk to our battle sister, but where is she? So she's in here, so I want to go this way. Okay. I guess I could have just selected it, huh? Hello.
Trader.
That's me. You said you have a personal request for me?
I indeed have a request, Rogue Trader.
Okay.
The accursed servants of Chaos who assaulted this ship took the lives of your loyal crew members.
Sure did.
And they orphaned many children, including the progeny of the brave officers who defended their posts until the bitter end.
Yeah.
I don't know what customary practices there are for cases like this in Von Valancia's territory, but in the world I'm familiar with, the children of such brave souls could expect to receive some special consideration. Perhaps the Rogue Trader could meet with the orphans?
I will meet with them. No formalities needed. These are children of my people who gave lives for Von Valancia's dynasty. My consideration is, at the very least, what they deserve. Yeah, I agree with that.
I will pass on your instructions. Thank you for taking my request to heart.
Of course. Sister Argenta is one of the blessed Adeptus sisters, sometimes colloquially... I don't even know that word. Colloquially, I don't know how to say that word. Yay, clapping. Hit me in Abelard. A motley group of adolescents do not take their eyes off you, gazing at you as if you were a creature straight from a fairy tale. Okay. Oh my god. Our indefatigable sister has been keeping an eye on these pups. Abelard glances at the gathered children. It is hardly the Scala progenum in here, but we have provided the orphans on our ship with adequate care and instruction. Nice. Argenta is standing to the side of the group at your approach. She perks up and announces, her voice ringing. Brave ones, the master of the ship has appeared before you. The one who guides it through the darkness of the universe by the Emperor's will. Greet your Lord Captain, the Rogue Trader of House Von Valancius. Enrique Montague. You notice Infernus Master Enrique Montague standing a few paces away from the orphans. He watches you with approval and bows respectfully when you meet his gaze. Grandly address the group, smile at the group, address the chaperones. I, Rogue Trader, Lord Captain, speak to you now. Your parents gave their lives for a just cause and brought honor to the Von Valencia's banners and those of the Imperium. I am proud of them, and I believe that you will be their worthy heirs. Yeah, I like that one. The teenagers hang on your every word with bated breath. Only few at the far end of the row seem sullen and not particularly impressed by your speech. One of the scowling visitors with a thin scar across his face tosses his head back and says bitterly, "So what? Why should we care? Friends and parents died in their dozens for you, noble lot, and you just give us speeches." Ah, fair. Argenta quickly turns to the boy. A flurry of emotions flashes in her dark eyes like she wants both to calm him and scold him for the impudence. Address the chaperones. Punish the troublemaker. Oh, jeez. If you have things to say, say them without fear. I will listen. Yeah, I mean, I got kids. I understand this. The boy smiles grimly. It doesn't matter what we say. It won't bring our parents back, and it won't change our fates either. We'll keep slaving away on the ship until we drop and die like our folks or worse. I understand your grief and dismay. Your parents died. It's not an easy thing to go through, but they gave their lives for the truth and the good of the whole ship, for the Imperium. Do not speak of their honorable fate with anger and disdain. When the heretics who killed your parents attacked the ship, I was there. I took command. I fought, and I repelled the assault as quickly as I could. But no war can be won without losses. You can only strive to do what is within your power. The strong have the power to seek the fate of others. The weak obey or die. If you seek a different lot in life, boys, save your grumbling and look for the opportunity to rise above the rest. Punish the troublemaker. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I like the middle one. You heard the Rogue Trader. His words carry the wisdom of the Imperium. Right. It's hard to say whether your words have left an impression on the boy, but he nods slowly. Then he catches himself and gives you an awkward bow. Abelard gives a sign, and the servants immediately emerge, carrying packaged treats with Von Valencia's emblazoned on the wrappers. It appears that the Seneschal came prepared for any contingency. Abelard's a bro. Have treats. Watch them throw the treats. Argenta rubs her temple pensively. She smiles and offers a few more words of encouragement, then leaves the bay. I tried, okay? I tried to be nice. Hey, I should have punished the troublemaker. Listen, when I was first starting this out, I knew I could have either gone like the crazy route for the oohs and the ahs, but I want to play this as if I was playing it like, you know, how I would play it. Not just for entertainment purposes, if that makes sense. Giving you the real loaf experience here. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. New blood. Yeah, we need new engines here. And looking for trouble. Okay, let's go to the big ship map here. I love this little map. It does a cool job kind of doing what Mass Effect did with theirs. But in my opinion, just a little better. I'm going to go to Thunderfang, actually, and sell some stuff. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Vigdis pauses as if listening to something. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Worserin's voice. In any case, I wanted to warn you in advance. Oh, for butt's sake. I'm so busy, guys. What now? I love how I turn around in my chair. You may address me. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by the voices raised in anger. Abelard's voice, the loudest of all. This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. Lord Captain has received a plea to assess the actions of Seneschal as a result of decisions regarding... Okay. Deal with the situation regarding Depot 4. Okay. The young woman standing before Abelard strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence toward a higher ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrilla Vent, requesting permission to speak. Vent falls silent and then adds rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. I will listen to what you have to say. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary, but I am convinced that this step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of the senior officers. Vent is almost trembling with tension as she delivers her speech, her face extremely pale. Abelard, in no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff. He glances at Sourback, who is standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Worcerin, and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. Vent reels off the last words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been preparing to say them for some time. When she finished, she casts an anxious glance at Abelard, then at you. There's an insurrection in the making aboard my ship, and no one has informed me? I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in a revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors of that hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Abelard scoffs. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on the ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure that if the rogue trader addresses the malcontents directly, he will quell the unrest. I dread to think what problem will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps he will ask the Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room. I have already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush the rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. Yeah, how did this all start? The situation could boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who'd been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed, and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between enforcers and workers to a head. And where does the Seneschal come into all of this? I shall explain. Abelard intones grimly. I beg you to hurry, time is running out. I will not hurry, since my competence is under scrutiny. I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There's an established order to the way things are done on the ship, and one of the pillars of that system is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I have always handled internal problems myself, so, of course, when I received information about cultists hiding on the lower decks, I took the matter in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Worcerin. Is that his last name? Is that Abelard's last name? Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors that has driven the people to the brink. Vent says bitterly. Now there's a strike on the lower decks, and deep before, to be precise, 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection, but when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Master-at-Arms, the ship's enforcers report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vent, I respect the chain of command and realize that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors. Sourback bows her head in Abelard's direction. However, a moment later, a serpentine smile appears on her lips. That being said, while I entirely share Master Worcerin's opinion on what fate Deep Before deserves, I must note that this insubordination is a direct consequence of practices that he himself has introduced. Mistress Sourback, I see you have decided to follow the Lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does you no credit. Oh gosh. It appears I have unearthed an old squabble. I would prefer to be left out of it. Abelard, do you wish to respond? Yeah, let's give him his... Mr. Sourback, can you recall an occasion where I would encourage an officer to disobey their superior, or one where I would overrule their order, or show favoritism to those who merited none? None, Seneschal, for there have been no such cases in the entire time I have served aboard the ship. If anyone were to claim otherwise, I would have them pay for insulting your honor with blood. Your conduct in this regard have always been spotless. Nevertheless, given your eminent position, a simple show of attention on your part is enough to erode the propriety of junior officers, inflate their sense of self-importance, and undermine discipline. That you distinguish some of them, and know them by name is tantamount to walking around the officer's deck, handing out gifts to officers who have caught your eye. It fills those you set apart with ambition and audacity, makes them stand out among the rest. Enforcers are meant to be faceless servants, fighters ready to die, their fate entrusted to their commander and no one else. That is the sole foundation of order. Well, shoot, dang. Lieutenant Van, would you say the Seneschal has singled you out from your peers in any way? Lord Captain, I swear the Seneschal has never granted me any privileges, never once advocated for me, nor facilitated my promotions, although he is the man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place. He has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him. And while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know of at least a dozen fine officers whom Seneschal keeps in his sights to ensure that they continue to strive. To prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it, that is my duty as Seneschal. The ship has bays worth of pilots and officers, technicians, and stewards, whom I have raised personally by the throne. Every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at one point. I was gonna say, I agree with this. Like, why wouldn't you single somebody out, you know? I see. Evidently, my officers are anything but a shining example of unity and adherence today. I have only myself to blame, I suppose. Yeah, what is Depot 4? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sectors on the lower decks. It is home to clans of general laborers. They are not as valuable to the ship as the families who have served its specialized systems for generations. They are an easily replaceable resource, gosh. And one which is now, more besides, giving succor to cultists and minions of the arch enemy. Yeah, then they must die, right? Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst that means drunken fights and illegal rotgut brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on all the neighboring sectors. I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the restitute of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. Thanks, Abelard. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower deck, stop the assault unit, and speak directly to the people. You will see they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. I've heard enough. I will go down to the lower decks and deal with the problem personally. I'm certain the Seneschal is acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions for myself. Yeah, I agree with this one. Throne preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. That way I'm also showing, like, you know, Abelard some support. Abelard grits his teeth slightly, Enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to your and the Seneschal's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot for myself and see the expedient resolution of this incident. Yeah, I agree. We bring them both. Yes. I'm excited for this. I love this stuff. Wow. Nobles from the place. Hi. Hey, it's Worsham. Take that, scum. Oh, take that, scum. Look who it is. This is all his fault. All of it. Alright. Abelard reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startlingly human gesture and telling one, a rare moment where he allows his age and wariness to show through his armor like a veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Did you hear they were shouting your name? The people dared to disrespect a senior officer. Yeah, what the fork? They would not have the chance to express such disrespect if we were not here, and if the situation had been dealt with by the relevant officers. It is a junior officer's worst failing to pass problems up the chain of command. I have never been able to abide it. I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here on Lieutenant Vent's whim, Lord Captain. I must admit that the lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, but in the name of Terra, the girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It will be another 20 years at least before she can be trusted to act without oversight. Did you hear they were shouting your name? Of course they were. The organization of the daily routine life of the ship rests upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems from which I endeavor to insulate you, Lord Captain. The situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them, you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering a bay's heating. Yeah, let's keep moving. Sorry, dude. Let's get you out of that stank.
I always keep my options open.
Greetings, your graces. Something resembling a nest made out of thermal insulation material. This must be where the workers sleep between ships. Gross. Alright, what we got here? Lower deck rabble.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
Huge pipes with the arteries of the ship.
Relax, old man. Going for a stroll on the lower decks every once in a while is good for you. Lets you see how the simple folk...
Ah! The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Avrila Vent of the ship's enforcers is barring the path of her superior master-at-arms, Jocasta Sourback, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already and has now reached a boiling point. Lieutenant Vent, my patience is wearing thin. I have given you an order, now get out of my way. Oh no, I didn't mean to skip it. Can I go back? No! Oh, there we go. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. Vent looks shaken, but there is fire in her eyes. This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down: the officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all of my lessons fall on deaf ears, Abelard mutters in a crabby approval. He does not clarify whether he means Vent, Sourback, looming over her, or both. Your lordship, noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute their subordinates, following suit a moment later. What's the situation? Your lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant. I came here to lead an investigative unit, and what do I see? The rabble is on the verge of mutiny. There's nothing to investigate. This simply calls for immediate For immediate repressions and firing squads, and you, Vent, are a step away from facing charges yourself. We encountered some locals on our way here. The conduct was outrageous. They even tried to throw things at us. I want to speak to the strikers. Give the assault unit permission to open fire. We will crush the seeds of insurrection with force. Yeah, I want to speak to him. Abelard's mouth twists. He restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in her eyes. All right.
Keep your wits about you.
Where do I go here? Am I going this way? Where are the strikers at? Hi. Wow, nobles from the upper decks down here to see us. A dozen pairs of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. Oh, poor guys and gals. Bonjour. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd: an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us? Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship, says a tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet, snaps the old woman, who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your darned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off heating to the whole base for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs at the spittle with the toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign over herself. I like Argenta. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks and who grew up amidships and has no fellow feeling towards us. The grim man with the scarred face throws up his arms. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We've plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing you say. I was told that one of you found in possession a cultist amulet, and there are heretics hiding here. Abelard, do you have anything to add? We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limit, and now they're lashing out as if we don't know why these top deck units are being sent down here, like that one there that Lieutenant won't let pass. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off, but the lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who have just had enough. We're getting it from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who have risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. Sure, their words seem sincere to you. Their body language and the glances traded between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. Huh, okay. What changes do you want? Would you look at that? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking the Bilge-Rats what we want. Well, here's what we want. Here's what we want you to rein in your darned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want enforcers gone from here. We want to be armed. Give us arms, and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been a leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here? Oh, man. You've gone too far, old Nan. They'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. As for weapons, what do you need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop hassling us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed the cultist bodies, and we'll talk to them. One lower decker to another. If there are any more of those amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. Yeah, that seems reasonable. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want any empty gestures. I want real change. They'll promise the world to us now, but as soon as the Anointed One turns his back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dared speak out. The tall worker's eyes dart between the two arguing leaders. Every few seconds, he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step toward embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. Fine, I'll give the order for the enforcers to be withdrawn from the sector and you will be given weapons. Let's see how you cope governing yourselves and what difference it makes. I want to hear Abelard's thoughts here. Sorry about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet. That doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the archenemy. We must not give them what they want. Even if they did acquire something innocently, purely out of their own stupidity, that does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem. I've seen it before. Abelard's face darkens momentarily. In my second war, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Regiment, or Guard Regiment, that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor. Only the pocket knife, which had grown through all the rows of beds like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, malcontents, strikers, or whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple: give them no order. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm worried that if I do this, then what if, like, they are actually, and then a whole nother thing breaks out on the ship? But I kind of agree, you know? Maybe it'd be a lot happier down here. I don't like kids dying. I'm gonna give him weapons. Abelard's face turns stony and clenches his jaw. He looks at you, his narrowed eyes glittering with anger. Profit factor lost 1. Whoops. The old woman raises her arms triumphantly. Good riddance to the executioners. Freedom for Depot 4. All hail the Lord Captain, all hail. You can count on us, your lordship. We'll find the cultist's foulness if any of our people have taken possession of it. You're welcome, everybody. I didn't realize what I got from that was profit lost. Okay, let's go. It's this way, right? Oh gosh, she's gonna be angry at me. Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your companion, saying, I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Looks at you and his last vestiges of restraint vanish. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. Worse still, you put weapons into their hands. Now we do not simply have an untrustworthy mob in the hold. We have a mob that is armed. Next time they decide to start an uprising, it will be far bloodier. That is, of course, if they don't accidentally wipe themselves out first. That's fair. Is that how you see your future at the helm of the Von Valencius Protectorate? Why are you so angry at solve the problem? There's some truth to your criticism. Let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this role to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. Ah, man. No, there is some truth. I should say so. Abelard heaves a sigh, but he visibly relaxes. You simply needed to trust me. Yeah, you're right. I would have handled that situation myself had you not decided to intervene, Abelard says irascibly. I don't even know that word. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do not think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks. No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to her grand designs for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Whoops. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard the ship now, and I will not repeat her mistake. I would be too willing to trust in my seneschal and not fill my head with such matters, but the situation had spiraled out of your control. Give me a reason why I should continue listening to your advice and trusting your judgment. Right now, I don't see any. Now, I agree with this one. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. And stand straight at attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain. I believe I ought to explain myself. Abelard speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valencius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. It did not be. I did it because I saw in the Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything. Had I known everything my family had known, everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all concerns she had no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders, and then suddenly everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hangar on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come as a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid at the new rogue trader, to aid you to find your footing as quickly as possible. And to do that, I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Theodora trusted in established procedures and she died. I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Valencius Protectorate with me, stop living in the past. I agree with this 100%. Abelard solemnly inclines his head. Yes, Lord Captain. After a moment's silence, he adds, looking at you with interest, your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now please let us leave the lower decks. If the rogue trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places. Cool. Yeah, I agree.
Rise to the top, or get
Let's
left
see how they handle it. I mean, they'd been fighting forever, it seemed like, so I'm pretty okay with my decision. Hopefully. Besides, now if there's any cultists that show up down there, I feel like they're like the rednecks of my ship. They got their guns, they'll just shoot them. Alright. What do we got here? Oh man, we're almost out of time. I'm only gonna do an hour for the during the week videos, if that's okay. Scan is required. New blood, machine spirit, land there. What was this in? Yeah, this is the prison planetoid. That's where I want to go. Scan it. Cool. Huh. Nado Bandado. Yeah, yeah, accept. We probably won't be able to finish the whole prison planetoid right now. As of recording this, there's like 13 minutes left, so we'll keep this at an hour during the week. I don't want to make everybody sit and watch a full feature film, you know. Especially when it's been like 99% of me reading this whole part. Which I guess works out. Place looks cool. Okay. So this way. What do we got here? Oh, there's goods literally right in front of me. Why pause? Come in, escort. This is Captain Fikari. Escort, please come in. Ah! The pale young woman looks at you with a mixture of hope and disbelief swirling in her eyes. You notice her hands trembling as she clutches her weapon. Who are you? Did you come from the planet? Are you reinforcements? Saint's teeth? I thought you'd never come. Abelard teaches us riffraff the proper way of addressing her sovereign. Abelard glares at the woman, his brow furrowing. Officer, the person before you is Bradley von Valencius, a rogue trader. Although you are, from what I gather, a subject of another dynasty, you would do well to introduce yourself with the proper decorum. At once, sir. Captain Raquel Vicari, servant of House Winterscale and the pilot of this shuttle, it is an honor to be greeting his lordship von Valencius. What happened here? There's been a prison riot on the planetoid, sadly. It is being led by the prison warden himself, the Honorable Anathagan Castelgia, I don't know. He has allied himself with the rabble that he himself was supposed to watch and declared Ricati Filia to be independent of the authority of the system's lawful governor. Great. I came here as a shuttle pilot alongside the Honorable Evane Winterscale, son of Caligos Winterscale, rogue trader, vanquisher of Xenos, forever triumphant over the enemies of humanity. She details enunciating every word of her overlord's title. That's a heck of a title. Young Lord Winterscale wished to speak to the warden personally so he could put an end to his lawful treason. He and his escort went ahead. She grows paler. I haven't been able to contact them over Vox for a very long time now. Evane, Abelard muddles, stroking his beard. One of his distant, younger offspring. Yes, that's as much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Yvonne Winterscale has made several diplomatic visits to Arak 5 on behalf of his father, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. The great regent would not have granted entry to someone dishonorable, which means whatever happened in this terrible, malodorous place, we must aid this man of noble blood. I'm looking for the Inquisitor guy. Unless it's one of the prisoners or guards, then it seems unlikely there are no shuttles in working order other than yours and mine. There's nothing else anyone could have used to reach this place. Okay. Is there anything I should be apprised of before I set out? Some of the rebels have holed up in the barracks. I don't know how many, but given this is the only way through to where the negotiations are taking place, I would expect heavy resistance. Please take caution, your lordship. Lord Winterscale's guards mined the entrance so the rebels couldn't get to the shuttle. Oh, thank you. The warden himself is spearheading it. Yes, she bites her lip. No one expected this. Master Cagelia is a nobleman from a respected governor house and has a vassal to House Winterscale. All of a sudden, he proclaimed that Ricati Filia was now his personal domain, that the prisoners were his subjects, and that he would never bow to anyone again is pure heresy. And I take it they're looking forward to a diet of sand and gravel. What kind of madman would start a revolt on a barren rock? Yeah. Tell me about it. The only settlement on Raikati Philia is a penal colony. The prisoners work in the mines and the domed quarries. They mine sulfur, ceramidust, and sand, which is then melted down, a rather nondescript place, or so it was, prior to the current events. Why would young Winterscale have felt the need to parley with the dissidents? She sighs quietly. It's a personal matter. Master Cagelia, the seditious warden, is Lord Yvain's childhood friend. When my lord heard of the riot, the news saddened him greatly, and so he rushed here without delay, in hopes of bringing his old friend to his senses, no doubt. The first Winterscale in my memory who prefers to talk first rather than shoot and slash. He smiles faintly. Young Lord Winterscale is not his father's shadow. If he is determined to save his friend, he won't back down. I pray to the throne that he is alive and well. He's been gone for such a long time, and I really don't like this place. Cassier frowns in confusion. Theobald executed his wife and only son on the mere suspicion of treason against House Orselio, so why did the noble Yvain rush to save someone who had betrayed his house? Do bonds of friendship give one the right to make inexcusable mistakes? That's a good question. Yeah. The woman freezes for a moment before asking hesitantly, Your lordship, if I may a minute of your time, I wouldn't ever have dared to trouble you with a personal matter, but the situation in any case, have you been to the capital of Reich and Minoris yet? I wanted to ask if you saw a man there, a communications officer by the name of Jasper. I haven't been there yet. That's a shame. May the Lord Emperor keep the fool from harm. Thank you for your time, lordship. She bows, and you can tell by the desperation in her eyes that she is exhausted, frightened, and wishes to be off this planetoid as soon as possible. Okay, so we'll have to look out for that guy when we go there.
Always keep your eye on the price.
Okay, before I embark on this giant prison adventure, I am actually going to call it. I don't want to be in the middle of it and then call it halfway through. So that's what we're going to do. So thank you all for tuning in. I know this is kind of a more of a me reading to you episode, but I feel like that's just what the game is, and I think that's fun. I kind of like it, to be honest. But if you're new here, please like and subscribe. We have more videos than just Rogue Trader. If you're into Warhammer, we have a lot of Warhammer stuff here. And we'll have some other random stuff. I think I'm going to do Monster Hunter Wilds at some point. But I digress. We got a lot of cool stuff here. So if you're into it, hit that subscribe button. For all my regulars here, I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in as usual. And I will catch you all in the next one. Have a great one, guys.